Pop Culture Pastor.
So we saw a movie we've been looking forward to over the weekend.
We did.
We've been waiting for it well, you've been waiting for it for a long time. You were really, I wasn't not excited about it, but you were really excited about it. And then you saw it. Now, Cody, do you ever have that, like, when you've really, really been anticipating something, be it something in pop culture, whatever, do you have that post-waiting letdown, like after you finally got to that point?
Usually no.
Yeah.
It's a rarity. It happens occasionally, but not with this one. So
I can remember after Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out when I was a teenager, I was sad for weeks just because it was so good. And I've been waiting for it for so long. And then I saw it and it was everything I hoped it would be.
It was the holy grail of movies for you at that time.
Well, there's probably a sermon there about how even the sweetest things we wait for on earth can't fulfill us in the end. That'll preach.
It will.
Doggone it. So I'm perusing Twitter this morning, Cody. Did you hear about this church in McAllen, Texas, that is facing backlash for illegally performing a version of Hamilton with like churchy messages? And by churchy messages, I mean like American political churchy messages. Like there was anti-LGBTQ stuff in it. And of course they mix in the biblical themes as well. But they did this version of Hamilton, I guess, but they didn't ask like the actual Broadway production if they could do a version of their play, which is kind of a big deal. You can't do that. Now they didn't monetize it, obviously. So it's not like they sold tickets. So I don't know that anything can really happen here other than like the production of Hamilton on Broadway actually put out a statement saying we don't approve of this.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is coming after you, jabronis.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I'm not a huge fan of Hamilton. It is what it is. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I think there are better musicals out there. I just think this one hit a spot with people and there was a craze. But I don't really want to talk about the play anyways. I want to talk about the church.
Okay.
And here's my question. What are you doing? They did this on a Sunday morning, Cody. Why? What? Who are you? What are you doing? How is this edifying?
The performing arts, Dave.
Oh, gosh.
Are a lost art, if you will. And you know what? It's about time the church step in and bring back the performing arts.
I don't know why you have to be so contrarian, Cody. It makes me want to throw things at you. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen because I was incredulous. When I saw the story, I was incredulous. I'm just like, nah, this couldn't be a church. Not on a Sunday morning. Why would you go to the trouble of doing a version of a Broadway play that's popular and popular for reasons that are kind of antithetical to the church?
Potentially.
Yeah, especially politically. And then like making it your own. And like the only reason I can think of is you wanted that publicity.
They did not read the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah. It's funny. We just talked about secrecy the difference between secrecy and publicity. And like, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, you did this because you wanted to make noise.
This is what we call wanting some persecution, if you will. But you brought it on yourself.
Golly. It's so weird. We're so weird, Cody.
This church might be a glutton for punishment.
It's all just, I don't understand the culture in the society. So I've said this so many times that I thought I would be so much older when I looked around and thought, man, I don't recognize this place. I don't understand the culture. Like I thought I understood the culture for so long there, feeling like I feel like I learned it early. Like I was a pretty young kid when I thought, man, I understand our culture. And now I'm in a place where I look around, I'm like, why what was the decision-making process behind it? I don't get it at all, except for, and I think it's because I don't really understand the idea of publicity for publicity's sake. You know, like there's no bad publicity. That used to be a saying that we made for evil corporations, right? The bigger evil corporations. But now I think it's just something that everybody lives by. There is no bad publicity, Cody.
Indeed.
Because we just turn the information however we want it.
You gotta be a spin doctor, Dave.
If you just go ahead now, and not those spin doctors.
Those spin doctors were talented.
They're on a cruise somewhere.
They are.
Don't get me started again. So my oldest daughter, she loves Hamilton. I kind of want her to get a hold of this YouTube. It's probably already down. I think so. The church, of course, had it all on YouTube because, of course, they did. This church
don't do that.
That had their own version of Hamilton up there. And I think it's already been taken down, but I wish I could get it. I wish I could have, it would have lasted a little while longer because I would have had fun with my daughter and saying, hey, I found this new version of Hamilton that you have to watch. No, you have to sit through. You can't get up. And just kind of torture her with it. Cause listen, if there's one thing I know about a church performance, Cody.
Yes.
I know this couldn't have been good. There's no way this was good, right?
I like to think that there were members of that congregation that nearly made it on Broadway. They were this close.
They just randomly had a few people that was their special skill, their gift.
Or maybe it's the home church of many stars of the hit Christian movie Fireproof.
I like to think Kirk Cameron made a call to this church immediately upon the release of this news. He's like, how do I get involved in the next production? Because this got to have some Kirk Cameron in it.
Or Kevin Sorbo.
Is Kevin Sorbo Christian or is he just Republican?
He's both.
Is he? Because
I'm pretty sure.
He tweets a lot, but it's usually political. I don't see him tweet much Christian stuff. But he is a Christian?
He's been in the Pure Flicks.
Well, I know he's been in the Pure Flicks. They're common allies, the Republicans and the Christians. I'm saying, do we know for a fact he's saved?
I'm pretty sure he's had some outspoken Christian tweets in the past.
Okay. That's all I'm asking. I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying, do we have proof of that? We have proof of that with Kirk Cameron. And he says overtly Christian things.
He does.
And usually in his backyard with a campfire and an American flag.
As one does.
Kirk Cameron's campfire chats. Those are nice. Anyways, yeah. So this church down in Texas is in a little bit of hot water. Although I don't think anything can come of it litigation-wise. Because they used Hamilton without asking, but they didn't really. They put it on YouTube, and that was about it. And YouTube yanked it, and that's the end of that.
So I did see that YouTube, if there's a video that they don't like that doesn't meet their guidelines, and if it's from someone big enough, they'll demonetize the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but they left some videos on that they demonetized that they don't agree with the guidelines.
Yeah, it's hard for me to follow all the YouTube stuff. It's weird because, they do that sometimes. Sometimes they'll demonetize it, but leave the video up so you can't make money. I don't know. It's all sort of strange. And then, sometimes my church has had videos taken off of Facebook or YouTube because TNT Sports in Argentina had a claim on it. Then you have to go through this whole process of being we don't know what you're talking about. And then they're TNT, 6 weeks later, it's TNT Sports Argentina has released their claim. And you're just why did they have a claim to begin with?
Exactly.
Did we mention Maradona or something? I just don't know what happened.
I like to think you guys did.
You know what it was? My pastor probably mentioned the hand of God. And TNT Sports Argentina was no. That's in our sports. Okay. There's a connection here.
Okay.
Diego Maradona, famous Argentinian soccer player,
football,
helped Argentina to a big win in the World Cup at some point. and it was actually an own goal by the other team. Like it went off of like another team, the other team's guy into their own goal, and Argentina won because they called it the hand of God. That's what they call the play. And Diego Maradona, the guy who's their star player, still says like things like, "Oh no, that went off my head. It wasn't an own goal. I scored that goal." Anyways, that's probably what happened. TNT Sports Argentina was like, "No, the hand of God is ours."
Well, don't mention the hammer of God either, because you might get Marvel and the New York Yankees coming after you.
Okay. That's interesting. Welcome back. So, do you like Burger King, Cody?
I mean, there's times I actually do crave a Whopper.
Yeah, there's something about a Whopper that's good. Although I find you got to get the double Whopper because their meat's not. Yeah, it's not thick enough for me. I want more meat.
Indeed.
And the Whopper, while good, it seems like it's mostly veggies.
Yeah.
And bread.
So I will say I'm very limited on my menu at Burger King just because I think the Whopper's the thing they do the best. It's the thing they outdo McDonald's in.
The reason I bring Burger King up is they've come out with something, either it's in their app or it's a completely new app. No, it's a completely new app that is, maybe it's practical. It's sort of practical, I suppose, but it's a ghost detector app.
What?
And it's not a Christian thing. It's not the Holy Ghost detector.
That could be handy if it was the Holy Ghost.
That's what I do with my kids when I like run my hand over my heart and go, weep, weep. That was a lame dad joke. But anyways, yeah, Burger King has put out a ghost detector app for real. They really have. In a statement, the company said that the ghost detector app uses electromagnetic fields to help you determine whether there's anything paranormal going on in your house.
I needed that when I was in Eureka Springs.
Stop it. I know, you went to a haunted hotel.
Yeah. Now, honestly, nothing paranormal happened.
Right.
But it was kind of cool. Like, you hear the backstory of the building, and you hear some people's claim to see this floating body, torso. And then there's this ghost in this room that evidently is a neat freak and will, like, put your shoes together and will fold your clothes nicely. And then there's this ghost that will kick guys in the back.
So the Burger King ghost detector is, they don't claim that it actually works. And it turns out it's just a big advertisement for their new Ghost Pepper Whopper.
That's a smart marketing move.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge chunk of society that are into the ghost stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Given that you really have no proof of that.
And so
it's like UFOs.
It is, or Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
I mean, think about all the ghost shows.
Why do we? Well, okay, let's have a conversation. Why do you think we like ghosts? What's our fascination with this?
All because it deals with the afterlife, and also sometimes it helps us process grief. Aunt Mona is watching over us right now.
Nope, that's creepy.
But I mean, it's not a modern thing. Even in the Gospels,
yeah,
like when Jesus is walking on water, they're like, "Is that a ghost?"
Yeah, ghosts appear in the Bible, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, like
there's stuff in the Old Testament.
Samuel gets brought back, gets conjured back by Saul.
Yeah. The Bible calls that pretty bad, though, right?
Yeah.
That's presented in a negative light.
And then, like, you get Moses and Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration. And so, like, there is some, like, weird supernatural stuff, but it also kind of plays into the whole thing seen and unseen.
Yeah. Interesting. It is weird, the fascination we have with it, to the point where you went to a place that did tours of a completely non-haunted building. It is Halloween, like the Halloween season, and humans do have a fascination with this sort of stuff. Christians draw this weird line depending on what, I don't know, like it's not a hard line for all Christians.
Yeah.
Like some Christians got Halloween decorations up. Some like won't even let you say the word.
No! All Hallows Eve.
Yeah. So we do have this variable response to it. But yeah, humans in general seem to have this fascination with the supernatural. And I've said this a lot. I don't care if my kids expose themselves to stories that have supernatural elements in it, because at the end of the day, I want them to believe in something supernatural.
Yeah.
That is God and the Holy Ghost and things like that. And I don't want to shut off that part of their imagination for fear that they'll one day be over logical, like many Americans are these days. We have become a very scientific, logical population. Theoretically,
I was going
broad
to say,
term.
I draw the line at tarot cards.
Oh,
and
yeah,
weird
yeah.
stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't mess with that.
Nuh-uh.
I remember what Saul conjuring Samuel. It's not good.
You even saying that, I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah, obviously there are instruments out there that I think we can steer clear of that purport to use some sort of supernatural force. Now, we can have a discussion on whether they actually do or not.
Yeah.
Mostly, I think it's us, scamming people,
We're really good at that.
i.e. tarot cards, Ouija boards.
Boards.
Yeah, things like that. And so like clearly we can steer clear of those things. But I think Halloween, kids dressing up as superheroes or Disney princesses and going to get candy, not the worst thing in the world.
I'm okay with the occasional skeleton costume.
Anyways, we only started talking about this because Burger King is putting out this ghost finding app that they'll tell you it doesn't actually claim that it's accurate. It's just a gag. But the ghost pepper Whopper, you want to hear about this?
Sure.
A classic flame grilled beef patty topped with spicy queso, bacon, jalapenos, and ghost pepper cheese on a seasonally appropriate orange and black sesame seed bun. You eating that?
Nope.
Yeah, me either.
A, I don't do spice. And B, if my bun does not look like it naturally should, I can't tell if it's moldy or not, if it's black.
As I've gotten older, I'm not so sure that the bun is a necessary component for me for burgers anymore. Like when I was younger, I used to think the bun's definitely a necessary component. But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, you know what? The bun doesn't really add that much for me. And often it's just too much. Like it is not unheard of. Like if all the stuff's on the top, that I would just take off the top bun or take off the bottom bun and hold on the bottom of the hamburger patty. Because it's, clean, and then it's less bread, and I feel like I can taste the good stuff more.
Are you a maniac?
No, I'm not a maniac. I'm not crazy. Don't look at me like that.
You're a loose cannon, Dave.
I'm just sometimes like, okay, well, let me just say this. Sometimes the buns or the bread we use is just kind of filler. Doesn't taste good enough to be included.
Okay, I will agree that some buns aren't. But I've been to places where I'm like, I don't know what bread you're using, but this is divine. Is this manna? I don't know.
I can't prove that it's not. Anyways, yeah, I'm not eating. We've gotten a little out of hand with the burgers. Now we just don't make regular burgers anymore. It's got to be like a burger with onion rings and pork and barbecue sauce and eggs and
peanut butter,
ghost pepper cheese and peanut butter and jelly. And I'm just like, do we not just make regular burgers anymore? Why do we have to have, as a restaurant, do you have to have 10 different burgers on the menu? Who do you think you are, Red Robin? I don't know. Are we that into burger experimentation? See, what that tells me is we don't actually like hamburgers.
I actually do. I can get, well, I usually get it plain. So,
You see, but I could make a pretty good argument that that's how God intended it. Well, probably not how God exactly intended it, but he knew we'd mess it up. Cody, the information in this country is out of control. And I'm saying that because the information is mostly not right. It's not correct.
that doesn't sound like us.
Oh, it's just absolutely us. So I'm perusing Twitter this morning, and there's a thread of people who live in coastal places, blue states, as you might call them, places where there's lots more Democrats than Republicans.
Oh, I thought they were blue because they might be going underwater soon.
And they're oh, no.
Global warming joke.
Yeah,
Too early in the morning.
listen to some of these tweets. All right? Listen, these tweets have thousands of likes and shares. Okay? People are sharing these and they believe this stuff. Because I just want you, I'm gonna play this for you, or I'm gonna read this to you. I'm gonna tell me what you think. What's the first thought that comes to your head when I read you this? Because they're talking about states like we live in, like Kansas. My husband thinks I'm crazy because I refuse to visit or even drive through a red state because I don't feel safe. Would you drive through Kentucky or Texas with New York State license plates? Am I being obtuse?
You are.
Yeah. Yeah, you are a little bit. There's plenty of people that drive through Kansas and stop, enjoy a restaurant with out-of-state plates.
And I literally saw New York license plates last weekend when I was driving through Kansas City, Kansas into Kansas City, Missouri. So
someone responds to that tweet. I'm afraid also, but I don't let it stop me. I saw some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen in my life in South Dakota, and Wyoming.
I was going to say San Diego, you're seeing the ocean. That's it.
That tweet wasn't over, but I was guessing we had a 50-50 chance of being shot. What?
Someone's been watching too much Yellowstone.
Someone finally responds with some sort of reality. 50-50, eye roll emoji. Red states are not 1940s East Berlin, hun. They got a point. Finally, someone responds to that tweet. Really? How many public shootings have we had this year? Schools, malls, restaurants, churches, concerts. You never know. And I want to be like, yeah, where do those shootings happen at? Not out here in the rurals.
It's in overcrowded, overpopulated portions.
Oh, man. Finally, this guy says, D. Flanders says, in my opinion, no, I wouldn't want to take a chance on breaking down and having to worry about a gun-toting MAGA being the one with the tow truck coming to help. Won't even take a flight that has a stopover in a red state. Not really just afraid. I just don't want to have to tempt fate if I don't have to.
Don't walk across the street. Don't leave your house.
Dear people that live in the coastal areas, Democratic areas, please stop believing things you see on Twitter. The people of Kansas are maybe the nicest people I've been a lot of places. And people in Kansas are probably the nicest people I've ever seen to people from outside the area.
So I know the journalistic bastion that is Rolling Stone magazine, but they did an interview back in the day with like all these boy bands.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked them, what's the friendliest state to stop in? NSYNC of all groups said Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
The great state of Kansas. People there are super friendly.
Yeah.
And Justin Timberlake is not who I would consider the conservative, moral high ground, MAGA wearing, hat toting person. So
I think we talked a little bit about this when the elections were going on. I think we mentioned this, that everyone believes that everyone's just trumping MAGA people. And I don't mean people that just voted for Trump. Yes, there were people that voted for Trump, but that's only, we get two choices, Cody. We get two. I mean, I don't know what to tell people. It's like sometimes you vote for someone you're not particularly enamored with. I mean, y'all voted for Hillary Clinton. You should understand that.
I am really proud of the people that voted for Harambe that one election cycle.
But what I'm saying is we said this a lot around the election. We live in one of the most conservative states, in the most conservative part of the state. And I go to one of the more conservative churches in my conservative town. When it came to like really hardcore MAGA, believing in the whatever conspiracy that was, what were those people?
QAnon.
I mean, maybe 10% of my church espoused some sort of idea like that. And they weren't like that all the time. You just knew from things they posted on Facebook that maybe they might think some of those things. That's it. There's no, I think people in the East Coast just think what these people think, the tweets we just read, that we're all just a bunch of gun-toting, and it's like Mad Max over here.
If only life was that exhilarating.
roaming the Flint Hills, searching to steal gasoline.
Gasoline.
With our guitar-playing flamethrower guy. That's how it really is here in the state of Kansas. No, it's not like that at all. And in fact, if you had out of state plates, you'd probably be treated pretty kindly here, because that's what I've grown up knowing Kansans to be. So apparently someone collected these tweets together because they said, there's people who live out here who think New York must be some sort of unlivable war zone too. It goes both ways.
It is. Is it the Streets of New York, the Gangs of New York, whatever that movie was?
Yeah. I drink your milkshake. Oh no, wait, that was There Will Be Blood. I get those confused.
Two different movies.
I'm gonna say it anyway. I drink your milkshake. But then there's all these people who said, yeah, these people exist. I have a friend who said he could never visit us because he's scared to be in Texas.
I'm not scared to be in Texas. And there's two really good reasons why.
Okay.
Actually, three. The first one, there's a Whataburger on every other street corner.
Yes, they're everywhere.
It is a magical place. Two, there are Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is amazing. You didn't know you needed a Buc-ee's until you've been to a Buc-ee's. And then three, they really do have great Mexican and barbecue food.
Okay.
Because I had literally the best taco in my life. And it had all the veggies. It even had some fruit stuff on it. And I'm like, how does this work? My wife was amazed that I even tried it. And then that I loved it. She's like, I believe in miracles.
We all got down and praised God right there. I am a little afraid to go to Texas because it's hotter there than it is here. And the threat of heat stroke is very real.
Now, I'm not going to Western Texas because there's nothing out there. I mean, it's dusty, it's windy, and there's rattlesnakes.
What is this Lubbock slander? Oh, my gosh. My goodness. Or Waco. Is Waco out there?
No, I think Waco's central.
Yeah. JoJo. Yeah. I got another text to read you.
Okay.
A tweet. I keep saying text. So I've been sharing with you these tweets about people from New York who are afraid to drive through states like ours because they feel like they might be putting themselves in danger. This is quite the turnaround. It used to be like people from small town places wouldn't want to go to the big city because they'd be afraid of crime.
Yeah.
So it's strange. And that was just as ridiculous, by the way, that something would happen to you. I've visited New York City and Chicago, and I had a wonderful time. And they were great places to go. And I found people to be, for the most part, pretty nice. But now it seems to have turned around. Now you have because of the hyperbole in our political separations and extreme. Now it seems there are people from the cities who think they would be in danger coming to a little small town like we live in Kansas, Cody. This guy says, yeah, I heard about a couple of New Yorkers who got falsely accused of murder while driving through Alabama. They almost got convicted, too, if not for their lawyer's girlfriend's knowledge of pause attraction.
Exactly.
2 Utes! They're just 2 Utes, Cody. That was a My Cousin Vinny joke, and I'm here for it. I love that he doesn't qualify that as a My Cousin Vinny joke. He just puts it out there, and if you know, you know.
And I do know. That's a great movie.
That's a great joke. Absolutely wonderful. Hey, everybody, it's Dave. Thank you for listening to our Radio Leftovers podcast. Everything you just heard is from our morning radio show on KFEX 93.1. You can hear us every morning between 8 a.m. and noon. Those are Central Standard Times on www.kfex931.com. If Christian music's your jam, go ahead and listen. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for listening. Coming up this week, our Friday pod, the pod that drops on Friday, our main episodes, is going to be a Be Kind Rewind episode. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know what movie we're going to be rewinding to on our social media, so you can react to that and have conversations and whatever. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure and subscribe and give us reviews and ratings and share us. All of that helps to get more people to listen and for us to do bigger and better things. Thank you so much to you guys. We love you guys that listen, and we'll see you soon.